like dating people who were bad for me and who mistreated me. And I tolerated that because I did not have very good self-worth. So that goes back to that on a personal level too. When you develop self-worth, you stop putting up with the things that you used to tolerate. And those are the things that are going to stop you from dating the wrong guys. Why do I always date the wrong guy? Why do we always get the same bad leaders? Because we keep choosing to repeat the patterns. So when we make different decisions, then that creates a ripple effect. Oh, apparently these cards wanted to come out now. Ugh. You're not going to find these cards anywhere if you're wondering, because I made these cards mostly from stickers and various things like washi tape. So the ether, and then she had a galaxy in her eyes and a universe in her mind. This is talking to me about the grand scheme of things. Being patient enough to wait for divine timing, to not force outcomes, because the truth is we're never going to force outcomes, and what's going to happen is going to happen, and all we can do is choose how we will react to something. Will we react to something from our fear-based and lower self, or will we react to something from our higher self or our healed self? And one of the first steps to changing patterns in your life is recognizing the pattern. So if you haven't yet recognized the pattern, there may be something you want to look at in your life, or in a grand scale. That might be true for our world as well. And if you have recognized a pattern, you are already on this journey, because recognizing the pattern is going to help you stop the pattern. And it might not happen today, might not happen tomorrow, but it means you're on your way. And sometimes it takes a while to recognize those things over and over again, and we ignore our gut intuition. And then after a certain point, we make a judgment call, right? We're like, no, this is good. We're not gonna do this again. We've already done this. That's kind of bringing my attention to these cards as well. Warning, pay attention to the red flags. There's so many times in my life I have ignored red flags, but that is our subconscious giving us information. And one time I actually explained to one of my supervisors what gut instinct was, or that gut feeling was. Our brain is constantly taking in information from all our senses every single day. And we don't often have a conscious way of translating that information. Just like when we channel information from spirit, sometimes we don't know how we know things, but we're receiving input, but we can't explain where we got it from. So maybe we didn't know that we heard a lower vibration of sound. Maybe we didn't know that there was a spectrum of light that our visual senses can't translate, but there was something that was registered to our brains. There's actually scientific evidence for stuff like that. And I'm a huge nerd, so we gonna be nerding it up on this channel. I was also hearing the song very heavily, Earth Song by Michael Jackson. And it's talking about, what about sunrise? What about rain? What about all the things that you said we were to gain? And if you ever want to go listen to that song, if you haven't heard it before, it's really beautiful. But it's also really sad because, there's so many broken promises. Look at the figures in this. And this is kind of leading me back to, like, at least in the US, you know, our country was given so many promises. And sometimes I wonder if the same souls that, like, went through World War II and things like that, the Great Depression, sometimes I wonder if we've all just been reborn to go through the same lesson again, because it is eerily similar to those times. Like Herbert Hoover was talking about a chicken in every pot and a car in every garage. And, you know, that's kind of like the similar promises that were made by the current U.S. administration. And, you know, there's quite a lot of people that are becoming disillusioned by the broken promises. Maybe that's you. And if so, congratulations on your awakening. It's not easy, but it is part of your soul's path. But here's the thing, from loss, there is gain, because my therapist told me something that really helped me, called failing forward. All failures are information. All failures are lessons. And they are ways that we can teach ourselves not to repeat the same set of situations that we did before. We can make different choices, just like in video games. I love video games. You know, how many times do I have to die in some battle scene before I actually win? Sometimes like 10 or 12, but, you know, there you go. You know, sometimes it takes us a little bit longer to learn those lessons, but, and then Elizabeth Taylor, love yourself, you're worth it. And I feel like this is a key central message. I don't know why I can't talk, but anyway, we'll go with it. When I finally started really learning self-worth and really learning what that looks like, I stopped tolerating things that were unhealthy for me. And I think that's kind of where we are as a species, as individuals, and just globally as well. I'm going to pull some tarot cards now. Which ones am I going to use? I think I'm going to use these. These are new. I was lucky enough to get invited to Amazon Vine, and so this is one of the decks I happened to catch for free, and it's really beautiful. I actually like it a lot. I don't know who made it. It may be AI generated. Sorry for those of you that don't like AI. I do within reason, but it's really beautiful. So let's see what it wants to say to us, what Spirit wants to say to us using this deck. All right. Chariot, something coming. Ooh, lots of blue there. Archangel Michael's one of my strongest guides in addition to Kali Ma. So all that blue energy really gives me that with him. Also kind of reminds me of the heart chakra, or no, the throat chakra I meant. And then the third eye chakra. So the upper two chakras. Something about that. Maybe speaking up more. The gold in here reminded me of solar plexus energy. Connection to the divine realms. That gut feeling. That's the solar plexus. All right. Justice. Three of Cups. Okay. So Eight of Pentacles. You're mastering something. And that in itself is bringing justice. This is the thing about justice, and I had to learn this lesson in a little bit of a hard way. Justice does not always look like we think it should. So let's say somebody commits a crime, for example. I used to work in corrections. I've worked in the courts. I've worked in a lot of different industries. And so, you know, when somebody commits a crime, they get arrested. They go to court, and then if they did the crime, they're convicted, and if they didn't, they're not. Well, I'm sorry to say that that's unfortunately idealism, which I sadly learned working in those industries, that all is not fair in our society. That's another topic. Regardless, here's what it can actually look like. Somebody did you wrong. Maybe you think they should go to jail, but the law doesn't have anything written for that. So they don't go to jail because there's no law for it. But justice looks like you finding your calling and helping to get a new law written to fill a gap that was in our society. It could also come in the form of, new love in your life, or learning to love yourself better. But there's not always a direct cause and effect, kind of like that karmic thing. But the effect doesn't always look like what we think it should. And I had to learn that lesson within the last year, to be honest with you. And I almost burned my whole life down, to be honest with you. But I decided in the end that everyone in my life and my divine team helped me make the correct decision for my best path. So that's why we're here today. And I'm not in jail. Anyway. Hello, my name is Chastity, and I'm the owner of Bluegrass Mystic Company. Thank you so much for the privilege of reading for you today, and thank you for joining this channel. If you like this content, I'd appreciate if you would like, comment, hype, share, and subscribe so that you see more and that we grow this community so that others continue to see this content. Thank you for your time, and thank you for your connection.